The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Carson-Newman baseball picked fourth in the SAC preseason poll with Coach Tom Griffin. I'm Michael Watching here for the Eagles Sports Network. Coach, I know how much you love preseason polls, but last year, a terrific season, and you return pretty much every single body that played key roles from last year as well. How has that made coaching this group different, getting ready for this year, knowing that they basically all have the experience of what it's like to go through that preseason process?
Well, good to see you again, Michael. I know we just got done talking about the great games this weekend. It's such a for our coaching staff, this has been a thrill because it's been easy. These guys, like you said, are veterans, have been in a lot of games, have been here for a while. They know exactly the expectations for themselves and their teammates. They've done a great job of holding each other accountable. And this goes back to the fall. I mean, our fall went very well. So it's been very smooth. And that's, as coaches now, we just got to stay out of the way. We talk about the hay is in the barn, right? Isn't that a cliche term? But it is. And now they just got to make sure that they feel good about what's going on. We're getting their input on what they need going into this season. And their maturity level on and off the field is one of the reasons why I think they're so optimistic.
You have two guys on the pitching staff that are preseason all-conference picks, and Matt Bradley and Braden Coe. Coe was an All-American last year, but that excludes some of the talent that you have outside of that, and the fact that Tyler Shaver is one of the best that this league has. Jake Wright put together a very fine freshman campaign as well. How do you see the depth of the pitching staff playing out this year?
You're right. The first group of guys that we have starter-wise are veterans. We've kind of tiered them, kind of like, I guess, your bullpen, and we've got another group of guys following that. We feel like we have three solid guys out of the pen, and then we have what we think are some guys battling for a couple appearances. So we have a lot of depth, and in that, third group of pitchers, there's about 12 guys that are vying for basically 3 spots, which makes for great competition. It's kind of like in football. You're having a kickoff on Thursday to see who's going to kick on Saturday. And I think that is good for competition and obviously for each other and for the ball club as well, because you're getting guys to be at their best. So we feel very good about that depth and have some guys that can slip in throughout the year to appear in games. We have depth at catching. We have depth on the bench with guys. Positionally, we feel real good. That's why these polls are just ridiculous to do, because we don't know what each other has. I don't know guys that came in recruiting-wise, because we don't have a recruiting service that said this guy is a 4 or 5 star. And so we don't know. So I don't know how guys do it. I don't know how they vote for who, to be honest with you. And I know we got to give kids props for what they did last year, but isn't that a shame that we got to give props for last year? It's like, what have you done today versus what you did last year? But I guess we got to give guys trophies and some sort of certificate to be like, hey, you did a great job last year. We already gave them a certificate of last year. We got to give them another one today, and hey, your preseason? Ridiculous.
Well, you look at your lineup. You were just talking about that before the certificate rant there. When you look at the lineup, you were really balanced last year. You didn't necessarily have one guy that drove in 50 and the next guy down was at 25.
Yeah.
With that balance, how comfortable do you feel about how a very experienced lineup will play out this season?
The key to that is we have a new assistant that came in to help with our pitching staff, Travis Tingle, who's done a phenomenal job, him and James Sofield. And those two have never seen our lineup before. And then throughout the fall and spring, they're like, boy, it's very balanced. You've got veterans at the top, middle, and the bottom, guys who have experience. And one of the things I learned from Steve Smith, who was at Baylor, I asked him one time, your clubs seem to walk a lot and don't strike out a lot, which is pretty good hitters. And he goes, here's the key. Here's what you got to work on. When I have a lot of juniors and seniors, we walk a lot and we don't strike out a lot. When we have a lot of freshmen, sophomores, we strike out a lot and don't walk a lot. It says you got to have some experience. So that's one of the things we want to improve upon from last year is, can we get more walks? Can we have better at-bats? And you need experience for that, and we have that. Now, that doesn't guarantee anything. We still got to go out and perform, but you like the idea that you have that experience in that lineup and that anyone in that lineup could carry that club, and they have done that so far.
about a week away from the start of the season. You get Milligan here at home before you go on the road to one of the numerous regional teams, Alabama-Huntsville, to start the year. Yeah. What do you want to see from your team over this final week of preparation that they need to improve upon to get ready for the regular season?
Well, again, each day, making sure that we're covering all our bases as far as our team defense and making sure we're healthy and feel good physically and mentally going into that game. So we still got to challenge them. Like each day has to be a challenge because when the games come, that needs to be the easy thing. The practices need to be difficult and challenging. So when we get in the games, that's like going to McDonald's and being able to go out in the playground right there. So that's what we want that to be. But we want each day to still have a challenge to it and taking care of the bodies in the weight room and with the fundamentals and our team defense. And then our first game with Milligan, that's going to be a chore. Skyler got on me a little bit because we didn't mention him last time. And, a former assistant who's done a phenomenal job at Milligan. But, our first thing is take care of ourselves because that's all we can worry about. But Milligan's going to be a phenomenal test for us, the first game coming out here at home. You got ADs that are brothers. That's going to be a battle right there to see who has to shave their beard off. That would be a good thing to put on the line. But more importantly, it's going to be competing against a really good club that's extremely well coached by someone I have high regards for. So that'll be exciting to start the year off.
Coach, excited for the season. Best of luck this year.
Thank you. Who you got in the Super Bowl? We're down to it now. What do you got?
As much as I'd love to say that my Bengals will get there, I think that the road ends here. Tough to beat the Chiefs twice in the span of a month, and I like the Rams.